All right, so we are joined all the way from the beautiful city of St. Louis, Missouri, by my friend, founder of Color Coded Kids. I forget your exact title over there, Worldwide Technology and Technology Sales. Shay Gillespie, we thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us again today. We're in the Information Technology Career Cluster. I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School. We're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County Schools, Madison Central High School, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, Rosa Scott, the Academic Options Center, the Madison Career and Technical Center, and our YouTube channel. So we thank you once again for joining us today.
Thank you. You sound like you're in radio.
Oh,
Were you
I
in
hear that
radio
all. I
your
hear that
past
often.
life?
Obviously, we have a lot. You have a lot going on. We want to talk about, but just give us a little
Okay.
background. You're originally from St. Louis. You
Originally from
said
St. Louis.
yeah. You even grew up in. You said you grew up in the projects. But you went to St. Louis University and got a master's at Webster University. And even though you are in technology now, that is not what you went to school for.
Not what I went to school for at all. Yeah, grew up in St. Louis, single mom, raised three of us, and I'm the middle child. So you'll probably feel or understand what that meaning as you as we talk, through this. But yeah, I went to St. Louis University. My passion, I really wanted to be in broadcasting. I wanted to be an anchor. I wanted to be, so here's a little silly thought. I mean, now, before I thought this was profound, this was a good strategy. So when I was 13 years old, I love Scottie Pippen. Everybody loved Michael Jordan. If you remember that era, everybody loved Michael Jordan. I'm like, why does everybody love Michael Jordan? He's got other teammates too. That's Scottie Pippen. And so became fascinated with him. And I would write down his statistics and rebounds and all these things. And I said, how can I get close to Scottie Pippen? And so I'm like, oh, I know. I could be a sports broadcaster like Willow. I don't know if you remember Willow Bay. She
Yeah.
was a sports broadcaster. I've dated myself. And I was like Hannah Storm. And I said, there's two women. I could be a sports broadcaster. And so that's how I'll get close to him because I can interview him in the locker room and stuff and get to know him. And then that's when I started thinking about communications. And I went to school for media communications. And as you can see, that didn't work out. I never got close to him.
I know the story, but you applied for a job. You were with AT&T. You had a degree in communications. You were finishing up your master's at Webster, and you applied for a job on the old monster.com at Worldwide Technology, and then your entire trajectory of your career changed.
It changed, yes. There was a proposal writer, actual, you literally had to write. I know some of the kids are like cringing because you don't want to write when you're in school, never, and definitely not after school when you don't have to. And so there was this proposal writer position, but it said you need communications, marketing, all these little things. I'm like, I can do that. I would turn in papers and my teachers would give me high praises. So I'm like, it's writing. I can do that. And so I applied for the position, got the position, and found out that it wasn't really anything that I wanted to do. It was just writing, literally. You talk to folks, but it was via email or the phone, but there was not a lot of interaction. And if my personality, I'm an extrovert, extreme extrovert. And so that position didn't last long. And so I started applying for other positions. And that's how I ended up in sales.
Yeah, and the story goes you got the sales job, but you were learning technology as you went because a big part of technology is sales because these companies as they get more and more, especially since COVID, they're getting more and more trying to be more and more efficient. They're having more virtual meetings. They need state of the art technology in order to do business. Somebody's got to sell on the product, but in order to sell the product, you have to know the product. So even though you didn't have a background in technology, you learned technology.
I had to learn on the job. That's why I always say it was on the job training. That's the one beauty about worldwide technology and a good lesson to for I think the students to learn that your character and your core values are more important than the actual training. So worldwide, we pride ourselves on the principles, using the principles of the Bible to evaluate. right? Are you a good person? Do you operate with integrity? Or you are you a team player? Do you have a great attitude? All of those things are principles or things you can find in the Bible, right? Treating people well, right? Do unto others as you would want to be done unto yourself. That's where the core values of worldwide technology come in, and they give high marks and praise and evaluation on those types of values versus the training, because they feel like I can train you on the job. It's not surgery, right? You don't want to be training a doctor as he's operating on your heart. That's different. But this is training that could happen on the job if you have the right set of principles and values to be able to work with our customers and your teammates and so to speak. So I think that's one of the biggest things I learned, that's so vital to your career and accelerating in your career journey.
Yeah, and that's such a growing aspect of technology careers. I think a lot of people don't realize that. Even 20 years ago, when I was working down in Louisiana, we launched a new software system for all of our stuff, and we literally a person came down from Canada from the company to spend a month with us training us on it. So that is a huge aspect of technology because not only does the person have to know the program, they have to teach other people how to use it. So there's a huge market for that. And sales, and I say this all the time, sales is so vital to every industry. If you can sell, you can work anywhere.
Yes.
And you don't necessarily
Yes.
need a degree to do that. But if you can learn how to meet people where they are, know your customers' needs, and know your product, you can be very successful in business.
Oh, for sure. That's for sure. And that's one of the aspects of color coded kids. When we teach kids how to code, we also teach them the presentation skills around coding outcomes. So not only do they learn the fundamentals of coding, they also have to present and understand those soft skills are important too. How did you get to this conclusion with this code, this app? How are you going to sell this app to a potential client if that's what you want to do? It is vital in every career. So you think just because you're a computer geek and you're sitting behind a computer and you're coding and doing all these applications that you don't have to talk to anybody, you can operate in a bubble like that. But if you want to grow, if you want money, you're going to have to sell this eventually to someone.
Yeah, and that's a great segue because I want to talk about color coded kids because I love the story behind this because you have two sons and you said one of them was an athlete, the other one was interested in STEM. And you said you couldn't find any programs for him and you were having to drive all the way to the other side of St. Louis County just for him to be in program. So tell us what happened from there because I love hearing this.
Yeah, was driving. My son was about, I think roughly he may have been 9 or 10, couldn't find anything. St. Louis is a very segregated city. There's a lot of opportunity in certain patches, depending on income and wealth and the background. And so most of the wealth or the opportunities are out west. So either you move out west or you drive for those opportunities. And so it was an hour in the car, there and back, 2 hours literally. And I'm like, there's got to be a different way. And so I came up with this idea of asking a developer to come in my basement to teach kids how to code. Asked a bunch of parents that were in my community. They agreed, and I got 16 students the first week or the first day of the we broke it out into two classes, Monday and Tuesday, and 16 kids total to teach them how to code. And we ended up teaching, we had a curriculum set, 3 languages, and we taught them how to code their a small video game. And so now we still have to this day in North County that we have this available. We're now teaching machine learning. So yeah,
Wow.
it's grown. And that's 8 years. It's been 8 years
Yeah,
since I.
and you've expanded to Arlington, Virginia, and to the Dallas Fort Worth area.
Yes, and we expanded with the help of Microsoft stores. They have a classroom type environment in their stores, and so we were able to expand to Charlotte, to Atlanta, to
Wow.
Houston, to Dallas, and basically hired a developer in every city. And the parents, they came, they believed in the program. We had a great, I think, great curriculum where the kids were taught 3 languages pretty quickly accelerated program, but then they learned how to code their own video game. And I think that was the big draw.
Yeah.
They had a takeaway.
Yeah, and so much of what you do is really speaking my language, and I'm not big on offering opinions when I do this, but a big opinion of mine, and I just cringe because the Jackson area is also our metro area can be very segregated and compartmentalized as well when it comes to resources, and I just cringe when I see somebody on the news and we've got another sports program popping up. Now, I'm not saying they're not well-meaning, I'm not saying they're not great people, I'm not saying it's not a positive thing, but every kid in an underserved community is not an athlete. And
Right.
then that's just a fact. And then you even have on one of your videos that only 29% of technology jobs are even able to be filled by anybody with people coming
Right.
out of college degrees. So I think what we have another program here in Jackson called the Bean Path with Nashley Cephas, who does a lot of the things that you do. These kids can learn this stuff at a young age. We have a great program with my friend Tiffany Turnage here, Madison County Schools. They can get these certifications in high school and move immediately into the workforce, and they're not having to chase pipe dreams and not having to
Yeah.
but you know,
Yeah.
I always say time has never been better. The resources have never been better.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so just to piggyback off what you just said, my famous quote, and I have it all throughout my website, Color Coded Kids, is less than 1% of you are going to make it to the NBA or the NFL, but 99% of you can be an application developer, you know, and really it's key because these kids or we're ingrained to think that entertainment, you know, that's been our what we're known, you know, to push for our kids. Well, I want them in the best football program. I want them in the best basketball program. Or I want them to be a star. And the reality is, you see these people make it, the Jason Tatums and the LeBron James and the Lil Waynes. You see them make it, but that's an anomaly. That's not everyone. There's for every LeBron, there's a million that didn't make it. And so it's important to have sports in your life. You get teamwork, camaraderie, all those good things. But as a career, just exposing these kids early is just vital that this is something that you can do and make a great living doing it. There are some of my app developers make a great living. I mean, you're talking six-figure jobs that takes them in a different wealth bracket. And so I really do think that kids need to understand that these jobs are out here for them.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily something you need a college degree for. And I'm not discouraging people to go to
No.
college, but I hear it all the time about, you know, I don't think my family can afford it. I don't really want to go to school for 4 years. But these are the military route is a great way to get into tech right now. The Air Force and Space Force are dealing with
Yeah,
state-of-the-art technology you can't find anywhere else. And
I
then
agree.
certification programs at community colleges. You can get into the
Yeah.
IT
Oh, yeah.
19 years old. You can go to boot camps or programs
Yeah.
like yours because I think y'all teach JavaScript,
CSS
HTML,
and
and
HTML. That's
yeah.
the
So
we feeder. Yeah, we're definitely a feeder for because we teach the young students. But I, to your point, there's a program here in St. Louis, a 501c3 launch code. They literally have an 18-month program. You don't have to even have a degree. You can go through this program and learn Python and be hired. Some of my
wow.
developers literally work for some of the Fortune 500 organizations across the world, and they work part time as a software developer based with a certificate from literally launch code. They changed their career path. Older, I have one she's almost 50 years old. She didn't want to do what she was doing before, and she went to launch code 18 months, got this degree, and she now works at one of the biggest financial firms in the country as an app developer, and she teaches part-time at Color Coded Kids. So to your point, you don't have to have a degree. You can get a certification as long as you know how to code. That's really what these companies are looking for. And that's the beauty of the tech field.
Yeah, and even man, and it's crazy. I don't think kids realize literally every single place we ever go to either has a tech employee or a tech contractor, and it is something that is one of the fastest growing areas. And even here in down the road in Canton, we have one of the places where they build the Nissan Titan trucks.
Oh,
And I hear kids all the time, well, I'm gonna go work at Nissan. I'm gonna go work at Nissan. The old school manufacturing that their grandparents and parents did is kind of getting phased out. These people in the manufacturing plants are having robotics and IT skills. They're coding and programming the robots that are building the machines. So it is something that
Yeah.
it really needs to be learned by everybody, no matter what field you're in.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The world is going to automation fast. It's trying to do as many jobs as possible with less people, right? So it's automating everything. You see, the grocery stores now have more self checkout than they do folks working there. All of these things are technologically input into these organizations so that they can have less workforce and more automation. So, because people don't want to talk to anybody, they just want to get their things and go, right? They want fast results. They don't want to have a conversation. Gone are the days where the milkman and the grocery store clerk. Everything gets automated now. And so for me, it's the beautiful thing because people say, well, they're taking the jobs away. No, they're not. For if you're color coded kids or if you learn a skill, somebody's going to have to train those systems to work the way they do. And that's why this is a skill that's vitally important as this world is changing, because you can use this skill in any job function. If you're a doctor, how can you find and research medicine faster to save a life? You use automation. So that's a technical skill. If you're a firefighter, how can I understand where fires develop and how do they develop, and the fast, how much water to put in output in the hose and all these other things. You can use technology to figure these things out, regardless of any field that you're in. And so that's why this is a great foundation for any of your students or anybody to have in their repertoire.
Yeah, it's not that the jobs are going away, the skills needed for the jobs are
Yep,
changing. And I
that's right.
think that is the media loves to scare us with that, but it's just it's false.
It's opportunity.
The jobs are not changing, the skills are.
Yeah.
But I do have some questions from the students, so I'll get to as many of these as
Okay.
I can. This person is Rakia Jackson. She's one of our cheerleaders. She's in 10th grade, and she asked, "Working with technology, do you ever get frustrated?"
Yes. Yes, because technology, I mean, it changes and it's not always like my phone. Yeah, last night it froze. Why are you freezing? Like, and I'm trying to I'm trying to do something, so yes, you there's always frustration with anything. You get frustrated, but you understand that that's how the world is. It's always going to be something. There's going to be highs and lows in anything that you do, regardless of how much you love it or how much you dislike it. There's always going to be some greatness of it and something that's frustrating about it. So yeah, you just move on. You do what you need to do, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Is how I live my life. So thank you for
I like this one. Yeah, I like this one. This is Shirai Luckett. He's in 10th grade. And he asked, "Are you planning on taking your program, Color Coded Kids, to other countries?"
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I like that question. So I have some international students that are interning for me right as we speak. They're from India. And we just literally 2 weeks ago had a conversation, and they would like to create a online version of Color Coded Kids so that they can we can offer the classes in Mumbai, India,
Wow.
which is where they're from. And so we've been talking about that, how we can advance and put modules on the website and things like that. So there may be an opportunity in 2025. Let's speak that into existence. So thank you for the question. Yes, we may also, and it's not just mobile. If once it's online, you can offer it in any. We'll be able to offer it in any country, depending on the requirements.
That's incredible. This is Ray Sean Williamson. He's in 9th grade, one of our football players here. And he asked, "What is the hardest thing you've had to learn when it comes to coding?"
The hardest thing I would say is that it's not for everybody, and that's okay. It's everybody learns differently, and I've had students, where I sell it because I love it and I believe in it, but there are parents that said my son just really didn't get, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with him? But the reality is, it's not for everybody. So I think that's one of those things that I had to learn, that everything is not for everybody. Everybody doesn't like football. Everybody doesn't look, just because you love it and you're passionate about it, everybody's not gonna take to it. And it's okay.
I like this one. This is Cameron Sutton. He's in 10th grade. And he asked, what do you ever regret not becoming a broadcaster?
So sometimes I think about it, but I don't, because I have a good life. And I'll tell you this one thing, how this is a full circle moment for me. So at Worldwide Technology, they are now have I now MC a lot of our events. I now do podcasts internally with some of our business customers. So I kind of get that feel of broadcasting in my job. So my part-time gig is actually interviewing other clients of ours or MCing events. Matter of fact, that's why we're doing this event today and not Wednesdays, because I'm MCing an event in Kansas City. So I
Oh,
get
wow.
to do some of that media broadcasting thing. So I really do believe that what's meant for you is meant for you. So I don't question it. And I try not to have a lot of regrets. But that was a good question. But yeah, I feel like I'm now getting a feel for the broadcasting.
Um, I got time for one more. This is Renaya Matthews. She's in 9th grade. And she asked, what was your biggest inspiration to work for a company like Worldwide Technology?
My biggest inspiration to work here. I'll tell you, once I got here, I wouldn't say I had a big inspiration to work here, but what motivates me to stay is the founder of Worldwide. If you don't learn anything from me today, Google David L. Stewart,
Oh, yeah.
Worldwide Technology. So he's the founder. He's actually the wealthiest Black man in the U.S. He's 11 billion or something like that, and he's still active in the organization. But when I tell you, if you meet him, I always say I get my master's degree every time I talk to him, because over and over and again, because he teaches you so many nuggets about not just business, but just the belief system in yourself, like believing in yourself, being believing in God, being prayerful, knowing that things will work out, treating people well, treating people the same status as you. If you talk to him, you would not think he was up here. He treats you like you're his equal, and it's not just me, I'm telling you, from the man at the hotel who's carting his luggage up, he's having a conversation with that person, he's respecting everyone. And it's just so for me, who would not want to work with someone like that? And he's just a great person. So I encourage you to Google him. He's got written 2 books. I encourage you to just Google and just get a feel for the type of person he is. And
Absolutely.
that's really
Well,
my inspiration.
yeah, I know about him too. And like I mentioned at the beginning, Worldwide Technology is the largest black-owned company in the United States. Over 10,000 employees, which is just unbelievable. And that is 10,000 worldwide.
Yeah.
Um, Talk about world companies like Worldwide Technology were a benefit of COVID because they were able to show companies things
Yeah.
that they may not have known, and it was great for business for companies like Worldwide Technology, which goes to show us why these IT tech jobs are not going anywhere. We're absolutely pandemic proof.
Yeah, no, you're right. And we were set up early with right before COVID, or 2015, 2014-ish. We had set up a lot of virtual technology for our customers to explore and understand what technology. We had spent almost $1 billion in technology infrastructure that customers can access virtually across the world, no matter where they are. So you talk about Mumbai and any of our constituents across the country or across the globe. And we were able to set that up. And so when COVID hit, the beauty is all of these infrastructures were in place. And so when customers needed, they had these challenges of work from home, and technology needs inside their homes, we were ready. And I think that's one of the beauties of being able to have a vision about technology and knowing where the world is going and being able to think before think about those futuristic things that are going to happen and that the customers need. And that's one of the things I think that Worldwide does well. We're able to predict based on, conversations and thought processes with customers to predict some of the technology that's happening in the future.
Big time. Well, we're almost out of time, and as always, we thank you so much for taking time for us. But a couple of things before we go. First
Okay.
of all, tell us where to find Color Coded Kids on social media and online, doing a lot of cool things for us to see.
Okay, so colorcodedkids.com, all spelled correctly. And then Color Coded Kids, I'm on we're on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. Um, yep.
So, and especially if anybody, when you guys get that virtual program, if anybody's interested in that, really something to look into for, just getting the basic coding. I think
Yeah.
anybody, and even though you do gear toward the kids, if adults are interested in that, I think they could probably get something out of it too.
Yeah, exactly. I hear that if I had $1 for every adult that says, "Can you teach me too?" I'm like, the name is Color Coded Kids.
Absolutely. Now, the last thing before we go, obviously, and you talk about this in a lot of your interviews, is that there are just so few women, so few minorities in the tech field, and you're really doing a lot to change the face of the entire industry. So why should, and then in our district too, we have a lot of first generation Americans, we have a lot of immigrants, a lot of people that speak multiple languages. So there's a place for all of them. So why should all of these kids, no matter where they come from, really consider getting a career in this very fast growing field?
I think we need you. So we need the diversity of thought. It is so important. Black, white, brown, green, blue, whatever ethnic background you are, what gender, we need women, we need minorities, we need people with different abilities in the tech fields because it offers different perspectives. If we have the same folks running the same technology, implementing the same technology, you're going to get the same results. When you have people from various backgrounds, you get innovation. That's what drives innovation. That's what drives technology because you get a different perspective. Why don't we do it this way? Because this has affected me. This has affected the folks in my community. Why don't we do it this way? Because this has affected me. So I would say we need you. It's vital. If this is something that you think you're interested in, explore it. Explore it. Find ways to find programs. There are so many programs across the US that are free. And really, with the internet, while you guys are TikToking and Snapchatting, which nothing's wrong with that, Google some of these programs. There's so many programs out there that you can at least get the basics, to understand what coding and how this world is changing and how automation is changing the world and what you can do to help grow the automation in the
Yeah,
world.
and like I said, they can get IT certification in high school through our program here. So even if they don't use it, that's something they could have that could
Yeah.
translate into so many industries. So it
So,
really is not going anywhere, and we just appreciate you letting that word be known that this field needs them, and all the great things you're doing there in the St. Louis area. So thank you so much again for joining us. It's always a
you.
pleasure, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Shay Gillespie, all the way
Thank
from St. Louis, Missouri.
you.
Thank you so
And
much for
happy
joining us.
holidays to you guys. And thanks for having me. I appreciate you. And good luck, kids. You go get them. Take this
All right.
world by storm.
All right. Talk to you later, buddy.
All right. Thank you.
See
See
ya.
ya.